Okay, we'll pick this up. We're still on the action sequence. And what I have done is gone through every single edit, every single shot change, and put a splice on my timeline. Or add edit, I should say. And I cut it up. And so I can, as you can see, all the vertical lines where every edit was made. So to count how many edits there are, I'm going to start at the first frame and I click the letter S, and that shoots it down to the first clip. So that's edit 1. I keep hitting S and I'll count how many times it stops. So that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so forth. And the question is, how many edits do you have? And that'll be what you would turn in as your answer to the question. How many edits are there in this sequence? Now, when you get to the end, so let's just say we're this number and then this number, don't count the last frame, but the edit right before, because that's the edit to show this guy's face who says,
"What?"
Right, what? So you count from the first splice. We don't need to count. You can start with 0 if you want to, then 1, and all the way down to the slice where it cuts to his close-up, and whatever number that is, and then that is how many edits there are, and the last edit he will say,
"What?"
Let's take a look at this timeline, and you can see that there's a lot of tiny little edits, and then there's some larger ones, like right in here. Now I can zoom in on this, and there's a couple ways to do this, but there's a slider down here, the scale bar. I slide this to the right, and notice I can now zoom in on it, and then you grab the scroll bar and you go left and right within the sequence. So where the playhead is. And as you notice, there are short edits, and then there's areas where there are longer edits, and it goes back to short, medium, medium, long, medium, medium, short, short, real short, and on that. So the question is, how short can an edit be when you claim this kind of action? So if I go right here, here's a pretty short duration. I hit the letter T to get me the total clip. The letter T will mark an in and an out on the clip that my playhead is sitting on top of. And to count how many frames that is, there is a gauge up here, center duration it's called, and it says 0.12, so it means 12 frames. Now remember, we're working roughly at 30 frames per second, so 12 frames is less than half a second. If it was 15, it would be half a second, but it's 12, so it's less than half a second. I'm going to just hit S and go down, see if I can find even a shorter one. Here's a pretty short one. And I'm going to, let's see, hit T on that, and that's 10 frames. So it's 1/3 of a second. And you can tell definitely when we're watching this sequence, watch, this guy's reaching out from the window, and when hit play, did you see the gun shoot? Yes, you did. And that is 1/3 of a second. So you can recognize pretty short duration things. Let's see if we can find another one. Okay, this one looks pretty short. To hit T again, notice that this is still highlighted, so I click on the gray area up here, deselects it, then I can hit T and it'll jump over here. So this shot here, how long is this one? This is 9 frames, so even shorter than the gunshot. And let's see if we can. Okay, it's the shot where the car is starting to drop off the roof. Okay, so let's see this in sequence. Here we go. Did you see the shot of the car dropping? Yes, that's only 9 frames. And there's no question what happens with this 9-frame shot. Okay, so the point of this exercise is, one, to show there's a certain rhythm. Not everything is super tight, not everything is super long. It's a combination which creates this pacing, this rhythm, this sense of storytelling that is built up of short shots and long shots, okay? And so anyway, that's the goal of studying this. And if you want to, when I see a scene when I'm watching a movie and I see a scene that I go, wow, that's pretty exciting, or that's pretty interesting, or that's very, it could even be very dramatic or emotional or funny. The best way to understand how that works is what I do is I get a copy of that scene and then I study it frame by frame, which is what I asked you to do for this assignment, okay? So we're studying how to cut an action movie. Now, the interesting thing about this action movie is some editing tricks. One is, how does he get into this car that he's going to steal? He breaks the window. And what does he break it with? His hand? No. If you go back to the frame, he's holding a gun. And he hits it with the butt of the gun. Now, clearly, on this wider shot, he hits the window with the gun and the glass shatters, correct? We go to the next frame. We're inside the car, the point of view of being inside the car, and the window is not broken yet, and he hits it again, and then it shatters. So did he break it twice? No, it's editing to give us the impact, heighten the impact. Watch again in real time. All right, it's so fast you can barely see the glass not broken once it's been broken, and then breaks it a second time, okay? And so what I'm interested is in what I call the overlap. How much of real time is overlap? So I go to this point right before the window is broken. I'll count that as 1 frame, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's about 8 frames of overlap with the repeated action. Okay? So now you watch it again. You can almost sense the double hit. Okay, 8 frames is a lot. It's not a lot, and so it's hard to see that. The next thing I want to show you, this technique is used quite dramatically and it's done many times. So here he is backing up. He hits a car and then continues to go off the roof. So how many times he hits a car? Here we go. Watch this. The red car is definitely in his way. He hits it so hard, he shoves it out of the way completely. So you can see there's a clear path now. The red car is gone. But then we have a close-up shot of him hitting the car. Is that a second car? No, it's the same red car. And it's a second time until it's clear out of the way. So they shot this with at least multiple cameras, obviously 2 cameras. One zoomed in closer, one is a little bit wider. Or is it? Yeah, it looks that way. So he hit it once, or so it seems, and the editor has decided to use it twice. So again, here's my so-called overlap. From the point of impact right there, I'm going to advance 1 frame at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Essentially 11 frames, 10 to 11 frames of overlap, okay? And then to drive this point home even more, when he backs up and somehow for some reason flies over the wall, the car, you can see, is now horizontal in the sky and then starts to tip back. We cut to the next shot. It's not even horizontal yet. And notice there's no driver in the car. Okay? Well, okay, so he's leaning down, I guess. One can say that. So it goes horizontal again and starts to tip up and starts to fall down. Underneath, these are different camera angles, and we see it coming down for sure. Then we go to a wider shot and see it tilting up, coming down yet another time. It's almost to the bottom. Then we cut to a side angle shot and see it drop again and now it definitely is hitting the bottom. It hits another parked car. We see an inside shot of him shaking, and the car is definitely on its back. And then we cut to inside. He's still being jostled around. And then just to make sure, we will now repeat the action again as the car hits down again. Did the car bounce up and then come back down? No. It's just the way you cut action. Okay? You repeat the thing to enhance it. So here it is in real time again.
Sir, he drove off the roof.
What?
Okay. So that's our little analysis breakdown of a contemporary action sequence. I will stop here.